Backupping, archiving, both terms for storing data, but are two very different things. This is the Digital Prepper, and today I'm going to be talking about the differences between backing up your data, archiving your data, the differences, and when you should use each one. Before we get started, I just want to remind you guys that if you do like the video and want to discuss anything regarding digital preparedness or just preparedness in general, go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe to see more like this. With that being said, let's get started. On the surface, backups and archives are fairly similar, but they each serve different purposes. A backup is essentially a copy of your regularly accessed data, like your applications, documents, and other data that's available for when you experience any kind of data loss. This means that you can bring in your backup to recover any of that lost data at any time. An archive, on the other hand, consists of data you do not access regularly. This can be items like photos, completed documents, or anything else that you don't want to delete, and more importantly, is not going to be changed in the near future. This data is moved to a separate storage device for long-term retention. It can still be accessed when need be, although maybe not quite as easily as a backup, depending on your storage methods. Let's talk about some examples. Some examples of backups include nightly backup of all of the files on your laptop or desktop to an external hard drive, or all of your photos on your iPhone being copied to iCloud in case you drop your phone or anything else happens to it. In the corporate world, we also have backup file servers. This may hold files that staff use daily, and databases that are an organized collection of structured information. Think like a file that has a list of names and addresses, for example. Archives, however, are a bit different. Where the purpose of a backup is to put something back to how it looked previously, an archive can serve multiple purposes. The most common purpose is to help you find some data from a long time ago. It could be a single file that had a really important item on it, such as a contract you might have signed several years ago, or it could be related to a group of data such as all of your medical information that you might have stored. An archive would help you accomplish all of these tasks. Another example would be a business that might keep current contracts and orders online, but they also keep all of them in their archive, which also has an index to retrieve orders and contracts through the content of those orders. Now, you might be thinking, why does any of this matter? What's the difference between archiving and backing up your data? Well, the benefit of archiving your data that doesn't change much is that it no longer has to be a part of your regular backup system. Because this data is archived, you really don't have to do too much to it other than preventative maintenance. The benefit of backing up your data is that at any time you'll have a recent copy of what is being backed up in case of any unforeseen event happening. Now, let's get to the fun part. What do we use when we want to archive our data? Since long-term storage is what we're looking for, you want to store your archived data on a storage medium that will last for as long as possible. Since different storage mediums have different life expectancies, as well as other pros and cons, we'll take a look at some popular options and compare them. Starting with hard disk drives. They're the most common type of storage medium, and they are cost effective as well, ranging anywhere from about $30 to $50 per terabyte for most external hard drives. And the benefit is you can fit a lot of data onto a single drive. The only real downsides are that the drives themselves can't really take up a lot of physical space, especially if you have full-size 3.5 disk drives. They can be delicate with all of the moving parts inside, so do treat them with care. You might also be concerned about a hard drive's lifespan, but since it will be in cold storage and unused, it should technically last for quite a while. The normal range is about 15 years. However, do make sure just to plug them in and turn them on every year or two to keep the moving parts inside from locking up. Next up, we have flash storage. This could be solid state drives, USB flash drives, even micro SD cards. They can be good candidates for archiving your data, but it's not necessarily too cost effective. For example, you can buy a 256 gig flash drive that will cost you about $30. You would be paying a lot of money buying multiples of those compared to hard disk drives. However, the long-term lifespan of flash storage is not quite as well known as it is for hard drives, since flash storage hasn't been around too long, but after doing some research, I've had flash drives continue to work perfectly after 10 or so years. So the potential is definitely there. Do be aware though, USB flash drives can withstand between 10,000 to 100,000 write erase cycles. What this means is every time you plug in your flash drive and either save data to it or move data from it, that can decrease the life cycle of the flash drive, depending on the memory technology used on it. When this limit is reached, some portion of that memory may not function properly, and it can lead to lost or corrupted data. Finally, we have disks. Now, I'm just going to lump all of these into kind of the same category, but what I mean when I say that are things like Blu-ray DVDs and normal DVDs. They can be great for general storage of data as long as you have a writable Blu-ray disc drive, and you really can put any file you want onto a Blu-ray disc, for example. The cost is pretty good. An example is a stack of 50 writable Blu-ray discs at 25 gig each, cost you about $22. And the total storage you would get from that stack would equal about 1.25 terabytes. Obviously, you would need a Blu-ray writer. Doing research on those, they cost about $90, so there is some added upfront cost there. But if you don't mind having all of your files on discs, this is not a bad option to consider, as the average lifespan of Blu-rays and DVDs are about 20 to 50 years. Now, no matter which option you do choose, you will be required to perform maintenance every now and again on your data. Don't expect to just put all of your data on a hard drive and then put it in a box for 50 years and say, I'm all set. For starters, you will want to make sure that you keep your archives in a climate-controlled environment. More meaning that it's away from heat and humidity. This will keep your media from degrading too quickly. Because of this, it is recommended to keep your archive in a safe deposit box, or if you can manage it, somewhere that is safe, possibly off-site, and climate-controlled. With hard drives specifically, it's a good idea to take them out of their storage about every year or two and turn them on to prevent their moving parts from locking up. By this time, you will likely have more files to add to your archive anyway, so this time will be a great time to add those to your existing collection. Finally, do prepare for the possibility that the interfaces that your media currently use might eventually disappear. For example, if you have files archived on a USB flash drive, the current USB format might change or might not exist several years from now, and you will have a hard time finding a device that you'll be able to plug the flash drive into. Because of this, it is a good idea to audit the types of media that you'll be using for your archive every once in a while, and make any changes if need be, or be ready with some type of converter or adapter so that you can keep your access to your data intact. If you've liked the video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to get more videos like this that will help you with your digital preparedness. If you have any ideas for videos or want to share your experiences with prepping, go ahead and leave a comment down below. More digital prepping to come.